This is Dr. Carol Orsborn, founder of Fierce with Age. I got AARP magazine. Probably got it too. At least I hope you did, because it's a good magazine. And it is absolutely the leading magazine in terms of numbers having to do with men and women 50 plus. So what they say or do is important. And I love that they put Diane Keaton on the cover. We all love Diane Keaton. We all love Woody Allen. And remember her as Annie Hall, the iconoclast. But I have to say I wasn't happy with the headline. And in fact, I find it disturbing. So I thought I would share my thoughts with you about this, because not only AARP, but all of us in the aging community have a blind spot. We have some real issues with language and stereotypes that have to do with ageism that we don't even see. We don't even see the water we're swimming in. So I thought this was a good example. So let me start right in. The headline says, Diane Keaton, how she stays forever young. How many times have we heard people say that being forever young is the goal? Now, I'm not going to argue with the idea that we would like to have vitality, we would like to have energy, we would like to have beauty, we would like to have all the things that we identify with youth. But the question is why do we think that those qualities of vitality, energy, and beauty only belong to the young? And we don't have a terminology for it, so we call it young. But young is not young the way I want to be my daughter young or my grandson young. Young has become to equate with everything good, all the good qualities. So I'm really suggesting that by Diane Keaton saying that she wants to stay forever young, or at least the editor ascribing to her the compliment forever young, that they're actually doing a disservice, and that AARP, foremost amongst all of us, but all of us really need some good consciousness raising to come up with vocabulary that is disconnected from whether it's old or whether it's young. Yes, Diane Keaton is beautiful. Yes, she's vibrant. Yes, she's energetic. She's all those things. But if we want a further clue as to how deep and insidious the language in our culture goes, let's just open up to what's inside. So what's inside, here it's going to talk a little bit more about Diane Keaton. And here it says, the Oscar-winning legend defies aging. It goes on. And I don't mind what she's doing. She's embracing challenges. She's taking risks. But why do we have to defy aging? Again, we are only defying aging if we equate aging with being in decline, decrepit. So, we need this spectrum of language that helps us discuss the fact that you can be 60 or 70 and not defying aging, but embracing aging. I'd also like to, while I'm on the subject, just round out my discussion of Diane Keaton with the actual story. Because here we go into another issue that has to do with ageism and is equally hidden away and under disguise as a positive. Because in the article itself, it talks about Diane Keaton and puts her on a schedule that I would defy a 16-year-old to want to have. It reads, it's barely 10 in the morning on a sparkling day in Beverly Hills, and Diane Keaton has practically run a decathlon already. I'm going to edit as I go. At 6:15, she woke her daughter. Then she's quoted as saying, I did a half-hour run with the dog, answered emails, looked at designs for the house I'm building, and well, hey, you can believe it, here I am. So it goes on. The author of this article says, and la-di-da, despite the morning frenzy, Keaton looks as striking and original as she did in Annie Hall. Despite the morning frenzy. I'm not saying that, there aren't some things that we have to rise to the occasion of. Her mother has Alzheimer's and she's dealing with that. Many of us still have jobs. Many of us are still balancing the generation. So yeah, I'm not saying that we aren't busy and that we can't rise to the occasion. What I am saying is that to hold that ideal of youthfulness, of youthiness, that we should be able to get up before the dawn and keep going until after midnight and push ourselves and drive ourselves. For those of us who have some choice in the matter, it's really important that we stop and take a pause and think that one of the gifts of advancing age, in many cases, hopefully, is that we have at least some more choice about how we spend our time. And if we force ourselves to go on that sort of huge and driven pace out of some sense that if we're not keeping up with that image that's drawn from decades earlier in our lives, that we're not a vision of successful aging, we are really losing an opportunity to discover something much deeper. So I'd like to finish with a story, one of my favorite stories. It is from the Eastern spiritual tradition, and it's a story about Alexander the Great. So many thousands of years ago, Alexander the Great was on his great march to India when he saw a mystic on the riverbank that was enjoying the sun. This mystic was on his back and relaxed, and he could hear the birds sing, and he took his finger and he could put it into the river, and he was just so enjoying the day. Alexander the Great looked at this mystic at the riverbank, and he said, oh master, I am so impressed by what you're doing. I would so love to be doing what you're doing. And the mystic looked at him and he said, well, where are you going? And Alexander the Great said, well, I'm going to conquer the world. And then the mystic said to him, and then what? What will you do? And Alexander the Great said, and then I'm going to come right back to this riverbank and do exactly what you're doing. I'm just going to sit here in the sun and enjoy the day and love my life. At which point the mystic said to him, you foolish man, why don't you just do it now? I leave you with that thought for the day. Please, today, let's be fierce with age. Thanks.